Welcome to the Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric podcast. I'm Anthony.
I'm Rocco.
Are you positive? Oh, look! Teeth! Oh!
At least for this week.
Oh! Oh, we have to break some next week.
You know what? That could happen at any moment.
Welcome to our version of As the KISS World Turns, where we discuss KISS current events, rumors, news, and interviews with current and past members. Strap in, crank it up, and let's talk KISS. This week, we're going to discuss the reactions to the rebranding of the KISS Army Storms Vegas, and there was no shortage of very strong opinions. For those of you who live under a rock or don't tune into the Hooligan Nation every week, let's bring you up to speed. The KISS Army Storms Vegas is now the KISS Cruise Landlocked in Vegas this November 14th through 16th, 2025. So real quick, I will update everybody who doesn't listen to us every week and isn't a KISS geek like us, I guess. Last week, KISS added a special second unmasked acoustic kickoff set. In addition, they added Piercy DeMartini of Rat, Quiet Riot, Quarantine, comedian Craig Gass, KISS producer Bob Ezrin, KISS photographer Lynn Goldsmith, School of Rock, and DJ Noise. I'm guessing that DJ Noise is probably the biggest name they added. Just kidding. Opinions and controversies in regards to the rebranding to KISS Cruise on the land. First, we'll talk about opinions and controversies in regards to the rebranding of KISS Army Storms Vegas to KISS Cruise on land. Wow, that's even difficult for me to read and say. So, of course, I watch and listen to as many other people out there as I possibly can and see what their opinions are. And I was a little shocked at some opinions. I'm not going to drop any names because I don't necessarily think they're wrong. It just doesn't align with what I think. Except for this one, maybe, because it does seem a little confusing to me. I liked KISS Army Storms Vegas. I think and I'll put it up here. I'll put up the graphic. KISS, Pop House, whoever, they went out of their way to completely change the rebranding. They went incredibly colorful. They added all kinds of things to the advertisement, but now it's KISS Cruise Landlocked in Vegas. And yeah, I agree, it is a little confusing, but, and there's always a but, especially when it comes to KISS, but I think the reason why they're doing this is because they have 10 years of KISS cruises and they're trying to pull those KISS cruise people into KISS Storms Vegas. And I'm guessing that that's really hasn't happened thus far. So I understand. I do think that it is a little confusing to people that aren't paying attention day in and day out. And it has been said that the rebranding won't sell tickets. I don't necessarily agree. I also don't necessarily disagree. I think if you've confused the KISS Cruise people with KISS Army Storms Vegas by putting KISS Cruise Landlocked in Vegas, you may unconfuse those people and you may get them to come out.
Even if you're not, let's say everything's sold out, to me, it still makes sense from a traditional point of view. Like, even if I've never been to a KISS cruise. I don't think I even know anybody who's been on a KISS cruise, but I know every diehard KISS fan knows about the KISS cruises. So in a way, you're kind of connecting the dots and you're letting them know it's not a one-off show. It's not something completely out of the ordinary. You're connecting it to the KISS cruise so that It's a traditional thing that gets looked forward to every year, and you're just a continuation of. I mean, technically, what if they wanted to, they could next year do the same thing and actually get a boat if they wanted to. So I think it's just from a branding perspective, you're not separating it from what the Kiss cruises are. You're kind of almost like the Kiss convention thing. You're putting it as a traditional thing to where it's something that's expected.
Once again, Father Rocco, thank you. I think you just came up with something that I hadn't thought about yet. And I love when you do that. Instead of, by rebranding, instead of having the first annual Kiss Army Storms Vegas, they are essentially having the 11th annual Kiss Cruise Landlocked in Vegas. If you're right, and now that I think of it, I think you're right. No one has come up with this theory yet, and that theory makes more sense than anything else. Hey, come out to this. It's nothing more than the 11th annual Kiss Cruise, except we're not getting on a cruise ship. We're going to go into a hotel. But next year, anything's possible.
And I think me and you have talked about this before as far as the Kiss cruise. I've never been on a cruise. I've always been paranoid to go on a cruise. If there's ever been a cruise that I would be probably tempted to take a shot and go, but I don't have an extra $7,000, $8,000 to go. But that would be it. So it's something that I've always thought about. I've seen videos of. All you hooligans out there, I guarantee, have seen videos of the Kiss cruises. They look so freaking cool, so much fun. And we're going to be the land on the one this year that's on land, and I'm looking forward to it. And they keep on adding stuff like we're going to get into, and it just keep on. Give me more. Give me more.
I have heard, and I don't know because I paid attention to Kiss cruises in the past, but not like I'm paying attention to this Vegas thing this year. Supposedly, this is how they rolled out all the Kiss cruises. They would announce the Kiss cruise, they would sprinkle in some attractions, and then as time went on, they added and they added, and allegedly, there's that word, allegedly, usually their last announcement is like August, the end of August. So people are are speculating that there will be one more announcement. Maybe Waldo
Yeah.
slash Eric Singer is added at the last announcement. I mean, it's been speculated by other podcasters, news agencies, whoever, we're in 2025. Anybody can speculate publicly that wants to with social media and YouTube and podcasts and radio shows and everything else. It's been speculated that what they have here isn't enough. They need one more. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I mean, I'm gonna hold out hope. I think I think 90 to 100% of Kiss fans that are going to Vegas are gonna hold out hope that you see Ace Frehley or you see Peter Criss in some kind of form or fashion. Now, I've said this before. Do I think that's going to happen? I do not. If changing and rebranding and adding Piercy DeMartini, Quiet Riot, Quarantine, Craig Gass, if that does not kick up sales, I think the chances of a conversation happening about, hey, we need to add something that's going to sell, that's probably the top of the list. I mean, unless you're gonna pull in like an expensive band, and I don't even know who that would be. First thing that comes to my mind is Motley Crue, but due to unforeseen medical problems, I'm not sure that Kiss would even venture down that road, being afraid that they would cancel. I know if I was Kiss, I wouldn't. But I don't know who else. Who else do you go out and get?
Listen, they're Kiss. Gene and Paul are not stupid. Like if they need sales, hey, how much is it going to cost us to bring Ace in? They know that Ace has a loyal following, and it would definitely add. They would
Well,
definitely add to the popularity and the selling of the event.
off the top of my head, my opinion on that is it's not going to cost Ace or I'm sorry, it's not going to
Gene and Paul.
cost Gene
Oh,
or Paul anything because they don't own Kiss anymore.
Pop House.
So it's going to cost Pop House. Now, I haven't seen the actual contract, and obviously Paul and Gene weren't telling untruths when they said that they can have as much involvement as they really want until they die, because I'm pretty sure that that's just what happened. Is Paul and Gene sat down with Pop House and said, "This isn't working. You guys are doing this wrong. You're going to do it like this because we said so."
Well, I
That's what
think,
it seems like to me.
well, the other thing too is Pop House really has nothing but to gain from them wanting to be involved in something that they're doing.
I would agree with that. But, that also, that opens it up for Paul and Gene to be able to say, "Oh, Ace wants $50,000 to do a show. Pay him.
Hmm.
Not their money."
Right.
Pop House says, "Well, wait a minute. Ace isn't worth $50,000 for a show." "Well, we don't care. It's not our money anymore. You paid us."
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, give them 100 grand. I don't care.
As far as I'm concerned, give him 10 million. I could care less. I mean, we already bought
With
and paid for our spots, so you can't change the price for us.
pay the man.
Yeah, pay him. Pay him everything he wants.
Hey, one last little thing. The other thing is about it not being a cruise. Like I think it's slowly you brought up the many times the residency idea with Kiss. I think it's slowly or already is like Kiss's home base is Las Vegas now. So now you have this event, and if you stop doing the cruises, everybody knows Vegas is the spot every year too.
I really believe, and I only really believe that because of proximity and the museum, the mini golf, and the avatars.
Right,
So I really believe that for the foreseeable future, I also believe that that's why they picked Vegas for this year.
right.
I do believe that when we walk into that hotel on Friday, until we leave on Monday, we are going to be told 1,000 times about the avatars and the fact that they're getting built here in Vegas and all of that. And you know what? I'll go one farther. I will bet you that whenever they unroll this, they will unroll it around a KISS event that is in Vegas,
That
because
just that makes sense. That makes
that's how
sense.
you sell tickets.
Absolutely.
That's how you make things look like they're a bigger deal than maybe they are, or you don't know. And if I was Kiss, if I was Pop House, if I was Gene, if I was Paul, I would be on the fence, like 50-50. Hey, is this Avatar thing gonna work? Because there isn't many, and look, I think I'm on record. I'll go. I'll go once. I'll go once because I think it's a cool idea in theory, but going more than once, I don't know. And then, I think what's going to happen is people like us are going to go, and then we're going to talk about it. And that's going to determine for other people whether they go or not. So
Hmm.
I think this is a big business move by KISS. They're setting up their chessboard, let's say, for maybe the next 5 years. And I'm pretty sure, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that KISS is going to have something monetarily involved in the avatars. Like I find it hard to believe that Pop House paid them, whatever it is reported, 500, $600 million, and then they're never going to take another dime from, let's say, the avatars. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a percentage. There's got to be some kind of
I,
percentage.
gotta be.
And listen, if as a fan, if I'm to draw this whole script up leading up to the event when the event starts, and you're going to laugh. It's not going to happen. Probably not even close to being on the table. But I'm reaching out to Peter Chris. I'm having conversation with him, and I'm saying, listen, we can connect the dots. You have a great base. We can actually bring you to the event, have it planned behind the scenes, announce it shortly after your album goes out, and kind of get you press on your album, and also bring you in and add to the event.
Cha-ching.
Fans' perspective, though. I'm just saying from a
I'm
fan's point.
convinced it's all built around pay me.
Yeah.
It's all built around pay me. I I I I said this when we did the segment or the episode, I don't know which, about Peter's new record. Um, I don't think it's a money making thing for him because he's not gonna make any money. I don't believe that it's going to be. I don't believe that the album was backed by a record company, and that has nothing to do with Peter.
It's the world we live in now.
It's the world we live in. So I don't see. I have a hard time seeing where Peter makes money. I don't think at almost 80 years old that he's going to go out and tour. Might he do one, two, three one-off shows to promote the album? Maybe, even probably. But is he going to go on a countrywide tour at 79 years old? I don't think so. So he ain't making no money there. I don't think he's going to make any money on record sales. He might make some money on merchandise if they build him a good website and design him some merch. But
Now, this is a personal pet project to him. I
yes,
think.
I think that
How do you think it's the possibility that he's heard whispers from fans forever to put out a hard rocking album?
possibility. Yeah, I think there's a great possibility of that. So just grab. We're just touching on a few things that kind of poked me somewhat in different ways. And before we get to the poking, for anybody that hasn't seen the YouTube video of Paul and Gene, one of the I'm taking this as a clue. The song playing in the background was All Night. And I do believe that one of the goals for this Kiss Vegas thing is to promote non-makeup Kiss. That's why you add Bruce Kulick. That's why you add Quarantine. Like that's why you do that, in my opinion. So I think that this is probably driven by Pop House because Paul and Gene and the Kiss brand has pretty much ignored the unmasked Kiss since 96.
But here's a good point. Is the new Kiss era part of the Kiss Army?
Is the new Kiss era part of it? You're going to have to explain that.
Kiss Army started with makeup, right?
Right?
But were there people who are still part of the Kiss Army, whether you're officially a member or not? Like I consider myself part of Kiss Army. I'm a huge fan, and to me, I look at Kiss Army as being dedicated fans for life. That's what I look at Kiss Army. So the new Kiss era, there were plenty of fans that came in on that era too. They're part of the Kiss Army too, and they never got their era celebrated.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that. But it just seemed that for 25, almost 30 years, Gene and Paul didn't really care. Not that they didn't care, but they didn't want to do anything with that. I mean, shit, Bruce and Chris Jericho are the two people that celebrate the unmasked Kiss more than anybody else.
Without question.
Okay, well, you added Bruce and Chris Jericho to the guest list, and now you have All Night playing in the background while you announce this. I think, I'm going to use that word that I love. I think that it's going to be non-makeup centric that weekend. And I think it's going to be to push out non-makeup merchandise, to push out non-makeup box sets, to make money.
It's good business.
It is good business. I think it is good business. I think it's great business.
Listen, we got everything out of the makeup. Let's get everything we can out of the non-makeup.
Absolutely. And you know what? I don't want to say I'm tired of the makeup because I'm not, but I actually prefer right now, I prefer the fact that there isn't going to be costumes, there isn't going to be makeup because I've lived through that era for
Yep,
the last almost 30 years.
I'm with you.
We are KISS fans. We want what you don't give us.
It's
So
true.
when you took the makeup off
You
and
need to
we were
write that.
kids,
You need to write that down. That's good.
yeah, that's what that should be on the back of a t-shirt maybe.
Yes, yes, you got to keep that idea.
But but seriously, think about this. When we were kids and Kiss was not in makeup, what did we all want?
We wanted them back in makeup,
Kiss and makeup.
reunion. Yep.
No Ace Frehley, no Peter Criss in the band. What did we want? Ace Frehley
AC.
and Peter Criss. I come on this podcast for the last 8, 9 months and killed Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer repeatedly. And what am I doing now? Where's Eric Singer? Why isn't Eric Singer there? Why do I care? Why?
It's true.
Because it's something that you're not giving me. So I want it. I am essentially a Kiss fan.
There's a few times you put a rant out that I really, really enjoy. I really like that rant. Good job.
You like that one?
That was
All right.
good.
No problem. I have more. Uh, so that look, there's people on record saying, "Oh, Piercy D Martini, it's not going to sell more tickets." No kidding. It's not meant to. Piercy D Martini is not going to get people that don't live in Vegas to fly to Las Vegas to go see Piercy D Martini. And why? Because you can see Piercy D Martini because they're touring together.
It's interesting though because like
But
I,
these people aren't thinking to me. These
oh
are
no,
supposed to be these are supposed to be Kiss geniuses, and I just can't agree with this. I mean, literally one podcast after another, one news article after another. Oh, Piercy DiMartini, that's not going to sell tickets. Well, no shit. Why would you buy a ticket to the Kiss event in Vegas if you live in New Jersey, fly across the country because you want to see Piercy DiMartini? No. You can see Piercy DiMartini somewhere on the East Coast. Same could be said about Quiet Riot. Same could be said about Craig Gass, I'm sure. All of these things, oh, this singly is not going to sell tickets. I agree 100%. I don't think that that's what they were looking for. If you're a Rat fan, you are not going to get on an airplane from New Jersey and fly to Las Vegas to see Piercy DiMartini. But if you're a Kiss fan and you add Piercy DiMartini, Quarantine, Craig Gass, Bob Ezrin, which to me,
bring it on.
Bob Ezrin's probably the top, and for me at least, Quarantine is probably second. Quarantine does not play a lot. So it's not like you can see them everywhere. You have to look at this as the whole big picture. So for these people that are putting it out there in public, like, oh, this isn't going to sell tickets. You're right. You are right. It's not. But the accumulation of Kiss playing without makeup, the accumulation of now adding a second acoustic set, Bruce Kulick, Craig Gass, Quarantine, the other two, you're going to get your makeup Kiss because you're going to get it out of the two cover bands.
Hmm.
So if that's your thing, there you go. You got that. Like all of these things all put together, I do think, I don't think they're approaching it being really sellable. I think they're probably at it now. And from what I'm hearing, is there should be at least one other announcement. That's, I guess, how the past Kiss cruises have gone, is there'll be one more announcement somewhere in August. And I, like I said before, as crazy as this sounds, if they just add Eric Singer to that one, that'll be good enough for me.
I told you this before. What interests me is through all the years of us following 80s rock and roll and metal, whatever, like I don't ever remember Rat opening for Kiss or having any connection whatsoever with Kiss. I just find that, and I love their DeMartini and I like Rat a lot. I'm just really shocked that they're going to be a part of it. I think it's cool, but it surprised me because I've never ever seen, as far as I know, Rat's never warmed up for Kiss.
As far as I know, they haven't either. I think it's, again, I'm going to go to my conspiracy theories because that's what I'm good at. I think it's an era thing. That's what I think it
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah, okay.
So, Rat is an example of the hair metal era. And the hair metal era was Kiss unmasked. So that's what I look at that. Same thing with Quiet Riot. I
Hmm.
mean, it's the same thing. If you and using Rush is the wrong band to use, but if you bring Rush in,
Hurt.
Peter, if you
You
if you
guys know it's an inside joke. Go ahead.
if you were to bring Rush in, and I don't know who else, if you were to bring Bob Seger in, who warmed up for Kiss in the 70s. If you were bringing Bob Seger in, you are catering more to makeup Kiss.
Hmm.
I think by bringing Rat in, by bringing Quiet Riot in, by bringing Quarantine in, I think it's more evidence to me that this is going to be an unmasked centric 3 days.
I mean,
I
not
don't think they're going to completely forget Makeup Kiss, but I think it's now time for them to roll out the complete Kiss, other
yeah,
than Vinny,
yeah,
because
yeah.
they're not
That's not
like
happening.
they're not going to talk about Vinny or do any of that. But other than Vinny, like we saw the complete opposite. Well, we didn't see the complete opposite, but we saw Pop House redesign the website, take Tommy and Eric off, put Peter and Ace on. Nobody can tell me that that wasn't based on selling products and giving the fans what they wanted. And now we have to figure out a way to roll out the complete catalog all the years because, well, we paid these two guys 600 million dollars. We got to make our money back. And we're going to have things like avatars, and that's going to be based on makeup and costumes. What are we going to do to bring out the non-makeup era Kiss? And I think that's what we're going to see a lot of, not completely, but a lot of on this weekend.
I'm on record. I think it's great.
I think you're going to see it in both set lists. I think you're going to see makeup Kiss songs sprinkled in, but I would not be surprised if the majority of the songs weren't non-makeup songs,
It doesn't have to
or
be. They got the old
or
era.
50-50
Yeah,
maybe.
they don't have to. They got the old era covered with the cover bands. I mean, they
Right.
can sell. They have the opportunity to celebrate the non-makeup era.
Yes. I think that's number one priority. And the only other thing that I don't know. Look, I've heard people talk about the expense. Oh, it's so expensive. It's everything is expensive. I heard a statement that Gene and Paul, which we should all know it's not just Gene and Paul, but Gene and Paul are out of touch. You're talking about guys that sold Kiss air guitar strings and by all accounts successfully sold Kiss air guitar strings. Look, I'm going to tell all you people right now. My first order of business is to get off the airplane, get to the Kiss Museum, and buy Kiss air guitar strings. Why? Because I'm a geek. Because I have no use for them, and I know they're not useful for anything. But that's something that someday one of my grandchildren will find and look at and go, "What was wrong with this guy? There's nothing in this bag." And that's the kind of stuff that geeks me out. So I, to say that they're out of touch, no, they're not out of touch. I don't know why people believe that you have to make everything available for everyone. I mean, that's crazy to me. Like
You're never going to make everybody happy anyway.
cars, we can't all drive Porsches. Like we can't all afford them. Nobody goes to Porsche and says, you're out of touch. No, they no, they're not out of touch. You're out of touch. You don't make enough money to own a Porsche. The same thing goes with this. And look, dude, I don't know about you, but I didn't think this was wildly expensive.
Bon Jovi's was,
Bon Jovi's was, and it sold out.
and you ain't
So
getting half of what you're getting with Kiss.
no, you're not. As far as I know, all you got was Bon Jovi, one set.
Hmm.
This one you're getting what I think is a lot more. So I don't agree with that. I mean, is it expensive? Sure, it's expensive. Is that a relative statement? Sure, it's a relative statement. If I was a multimillionaire, I'd tell you it wasn't expensive at all. Um, so I don't know.
I'll
I,
go back to this. The same thing. I'm going to use the same thing what Kiss did when they did their big shows and the big, but they never spared expense when they put on big shows. And Paul and Gene getting back involved with this and helping to make this a great event. They added more. They give you, you may be spending a lot, but you're getting the bang for your buck.
sure, I with what they have put out there as a schedule, that's seems to me like it's going to be 3 busy days.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have 2 or 3 bands going to have to play each day. You're going to have all these Q&As. They're going to I would expect them to be at least an hour apiece. I believe you could put Bob Ezrin up there for 4 or 5 hours and the question I can tell you right now, I could ask him 4 or 5 hours worth of questions.
Oh yeah.
So you gotta think that it's gonna be a Q&A session is gonna be at least an hour. Well, there's a lot of them I would expect. So there's gonna be a lot of time taken up. Somebody said I read a comment on social media somewhere that, oh, it's a casino. They're gonna want you to gamble all day long. I don't think so. I mean, I hope I'm right, but I do not think like you're going to look at a schedule and it's going to say, first Kiss related event is 6 o'clock at night. I don't believe that that's going to happen.
Bro, I like to gamble. I don't anticipate doing much gambling at all. I can't wait to just get involved in all the festivities.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be gaps,
I'm just saying, like, that's
but
not even on my radar right now.
no, no, it's not on mine either. So do us a favor, hooligans. Drop it in the comments below. Do you do you think we're right? Do you think that this is enough? Do you agree with the other opinions that all the added acts are not going to sell more tickets? Does this sweeten the pot for you anymore? Uh, is it just a hard no? And for whatever reason, it's a hard no? Drop the reason down in the comments below and let us know how you feel.
Last thing I'll say is I'm 55, you're what, 50? At this age, you know what you like. And to me, I'm putting money on stuff that I like. And at this point, you know what you like. And I'll spend money on that stuff. So you pick your spots in life and what you're willing to spend money on. To me, again, I go back to we're getting the best bang for our buck because they keep on giving you more stuff added to this event.
If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button, just like him, and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button, just like him, so you don't miss any future episodes. And check out these episodes right here. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us. And don't forget, if it's too loud, You're too old. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.